you commentating?
I am.
Awesome.
Nice.
I'm going to be right beside you tonight. We can scoot this
That's the
down
last
now.
game. Last game.
Like, what is that noise? I'm watching the stream and hearing myself tinkering.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Talking the teams walkout tonight. Members of Soccer Shots Charlotte. Let's give a big hand for more info on Soccer Shots. Visit their website at www.soccershots.org. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Charlotte Christian School. Tonight's PDL match between the Carolina Dynamo and your Charlotte Eagles. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise for our opening prayer and remain standing for the playing of our, actually the singing tonight of our national anthem. Our opening prayer this evening will be brought to us by Justin Swinehart. Our national anthem, the St. Trio, that graced us this past Wednesday, Derby, Rachel, and Kira. Mr. Swinehart, the microphone is yours.
evening. Welcome to PDL action here in Charlotte, North Carolina, where the home Charlotte Eagles take on the Carolina Dynamo tonight in the second match of the PDL regular season for both clubs. The Eagles come in with a 1-0 league record after a win against Wilmington last week, whereas the Dynamo entered their second match of the season after a 4-0 loss to Tobacco Road last week. So second game in a row for the Eagles at home to open the season, and the Dynamo take to the road for the second match in a row to open the season. Eagles will be hoping to continue a good start, get off to a good home record here before they have to take to the road. Dynamo looking to not fall too far behind, stay in striking distance in the division standings, with Tobacco Road looking sharp as well as the Eagles. And a team in the Dynamo that were in the playoffs last year and will expect to be competitive again, so won't want to fall to a 0-2 start here early on. Just to run you through the lineups, first for the visiting Dynamo, who are in the white shirts, red shorts, white socks. In the goal they have number 0, Ryan Cretins. Defenders, number 4, Eddie Fullwood. Number 3, Steve James. Number 16, Luke Sioka. Number 2, David October. In the midfield, Rashid Tella, number 12. Ethan Wells, number 9. Ebe Kadulo, number 18. Shane Meacham, number 7. And up top, it'll be Carol Kayembe, number 14, and Danny Elliott, number 11. And for the Eagles, they go back to Humberto Palaez in the goal. The Panamanian who played in the league match last week will play in the goal again, with a back four of Oliveira, Page, Bejarano, and Siaj, a group that played against Chattanooga in the U.S. Open Cup. And then we've got in the midfield Petrovic, Williams, Coloco, with a front three of Omondi, Sibisi, and Costa. Costa, the Brazilian, been off to a hot start. Had a hat trick against Wilmington last weekend. That's Bejarano early on the ball, taking a throw in. Petrovic looking for Costa. One back by the Dynamo, but unable to retain possession. Now Siaj will go to Oliveira. Current Page with his first touch on the ball. Back to Oliveira. Finds Omondi. Little lift over the defender.
Noisy tonight.
A lot of chatter from both teams early on. Instructions being barked from the sidelines. Teams trying to figure out what the shape's going to be, what the tendencies are going to be from each side. Getting their organization settled as now the ball comes wide to Kayembe. He'll go back to October, and they'll rotate the ball, but loose pass still ends up in the hands of Tella. First little spell of possession for the Dynamo and the Eagles half. Back to Tella. Now Sioko get on the ball. Ref awards a free kick in a reasonably dangerous area there, as that was Danny Elliott looking to split the defenders. Wins the Dynamo a free kick. He and Cadolo stand over it. Looks like it's going to be Ebe Cadolo. An early opportunity for the Dynamo to get something on goal. Ball had pace and some dip. Well done by the Eagles wall to stand tall but it'll be a corner for the Dynamo. So a little early pressure applied here by the visiting side. Low driven ball dealt with there by Sibisi. That stays in play for Omondi. Current page clears the lines, and now the Eagles will step out. The Dynamo in possession, and the ball coming back to Creighton's, getting his first touch on the ball. Williams presses Sioko rather. Danny Siage looking to test David October at the left back, unable to get the ball behind him. So it'll be Bejarano. Leaves his pass a little short, but Petrovic deals with it. Jovan Petrovic does well to come back and win the ball. October again keeps the play in front of him, knocks the ball down, and creates a counter-attack opportunity. Codolo looking for Elliott down the left flank, rolls that out of bounds. Loose pass, Coloco and Oliveira not on the same page. Oliveira cleans up though, makes up for his mistake. Could have been a nervy moment there for Charlotte. Good little bit of skill from Danny Elliott. Couple of passes being left short by Charlotte. Loose pass from Oliveira, and then that pass from Bejarano. Not maybe enough on it to get Pelez to play up the field. Tella's pass broken up. Now Williams will look to counter. Tella does well, though, to recover. Kayembe, though, unable to keep it in play. Williams to Costa. Flag goes up for offsides. Sioko rolls it back to James. Take a little space. Look to play in down the right flank. Pelez off his line, though, to collect that for that ball intended for Danny Elliott, who's been busy so far here in the first 6-7 minutes. Coming back. Elliott's been good coming back to get the ball. That time trying to stretch the defense and get into the channel. Run onto a ball. Now looking to get in behind off of the throw from October. Not quite able to connect, but Elliott looks like he's up for it tonight. He's been busy. This is the fourth match in just a couple weeks for Charlotte. So guys like Ryan Williams, center back Siage and Oliveira, Coloco, Costa, they've played quite a few matches here in a short amount of time. And it's a warm one here in Charlotte. I'm sure still in the 90s, low 90s out on the field, down on the turf. So we'll have to see whether the accumulation of matches catches up with Charlotte at some point. Got some key players who've played a lot of minutes through 2 Open Cup matches and the 1 PDL match before tonight. So 8 minutes in here at Charlotte Christian School. Charlotte Eagles 0, Carolina Dynamo 0. Creighton's puts his foot through it. Sabisi unable to win the header. Almondi skates free and finds Williams. Loses his balance though, but wins it back. Petrovic hits it well, but wide of the target. Short ball approached by Sabisi. Back it goes to Creighton's. That bounce off the turf. Takes it over Kayembe. Out of bounds. October wins the foul off of Sabisi there. That ball collected by Bejarano. Finds Costa early. Little flick over the center back's head. Nearly came off for him. Now it'll be Almondi. Can't get the ball down on the floor. And he and Steve James have a battle for it. Eventually pops free, and now Page on the ball finds Williams. Almondi. Costa couldn't quite get on the end of it. A little more signs of life for Charlotte. Took them a while to get into the game against the Independents and the local derby last week, or on Wednesday rather. So wanting to get off to a better start than they did on Wednesday. Handball called by the official. Sabisi goes back, but yeah, Coach Dave Dixon, I think he'll be wanting his wingers, Almondi and Sabisi, to be coming in and combining with Costa and Williams, that front four. As Sabisi now runs onto this cross, low drive, fizzes by the post. But from the left flank, Sabisi able to sneak in the backside, rolls the ball just by the post. But the front four of Sabisi and Almondi on the flanks and Costa and Williams, fairly interchangeable. Want that group to be fluid, combining together. Coloco with a strong header off the goal kick. Ethan Wells looking to play in. Cut out by Danny Siash. Creighton's collects off of the head of Steve James. Coloco playing a little higher up the field there. Creighton's out to James. Sioka looking forward. Didn't get all of it. And the ball comes off of Costa and out of bounds. James looking to play in Elliott over to the top. Good battle there between he and Bejarano, who comes away with it. Now Charlotte will try and play out. Costa does well, combines with Williams. Tella does enough. He came down on his tailbone there as Coloco gets up for another header. Costa did well to battle with Steve James for the first ball. And then as the second one came, Williams and Tella collided, and I think Tella just came down a little funny, landed on his tailbone, trying to get his stretch his back a little bit. Looks like he's going to be fine for it. And Kelvin Amundi will toss it back to Dynamo, and we're underway again. Petrovic reads the loose touch by Tella, but Charlotte unable to make him pay. Awkward fall there from Codolo, but looks like he's all right. Costa on it now on the right flank. Coloco puts his shot high of the mark. Creighton's pretty unfazed by that one, just sees it over the bar. Creighton's plays long, but nobody there, and Oliveira collects. He just lobs the ball back in to the Dynamo back four. Elliott holds off Siaj. Now the Dynamo look to counter. Not much in the way of numbers, though. And Elliott's going to go back out to Fullwood. Neither team able to sustain much attack at this point. Seen a free kick and a corner for the Dynamo, but not much through the run of play. Charlotte creating a couple shots, one for falling for Sabisi, one Petrovic stepping up from the midfield, but nothing in the way of sustained pressure from either side. As we're now 16 and a half minutes in. Bejarano stays inbounds, tries to get up the end line. He'll win a corner off of October. I think the Dynamo hesitated just for a second there, thinking the ball might have gone out of bounds. Costa will go over to take the corner. Ball driven in. Oliveira nearly got his head on it, and that ball falls off the head of, I believe, Ethan Wells, staying to his task at the near post, heads that away. Petrovic unable to combine at the top of the box, and now the Dynamo see if they can find a way to break through Codolo. But it's going to come to Costa. He gets a run at the back line. Off the foot of Amundi, still in play. And October puts it up the line. Now it goes all the way back to Peleas. But off that initial corner, Oliveira looked like he might have had a chance to get his head on it. Eventually came to Kelvin Amundi, who put his shot on frame, and not sure if it was Ethan Wells or Steve James who was on the post and were able to bail out Ryan Creighton's and head that one away from danger. But a dangerous look for Charlotte off of the restart, off that corner kick from Costa. But we still remain 0-0 here in Charlotte. Loose touch from Sioka. Gets away with it though. Ref gives the corner back to, or gives the throw in back to the Dynamo. As Nutella looks to combine, can't connect with Codolo though. Petrovic, plenty of time. Needs a little bit of movement though to be able to play forward. Had the time to. Nobody freeing themselves up. Siaj comes across the field. Coloco cleans it, plays out the other side to Page. Charlotte will have a little more space to play now. That ball drops into the back line. Omondi runs onto it, now falls to Costa. Battle at the top of the box. It's going to be Tella eventually gets it away, but a little bit of confusion there on the initial ball in. The keeper came out and defender headed it away from him. Looked like James. Up to Page. Time to pick his head up. Comes across the midfield to Petrovic. Ball falls to Ryan Williams. But now it's going to be the Dynamo with a chance to break. Rolled out wide to Danny Elliott. Beats the tackle of Siaj. Goes on and has it with his left foot. A little bit of deflection that may have actually helped Pelaez taking the pace off of that shot. That ball was bound for the side net, but Pelaez lays out and catches it pretty routinely. But Danny Elliott showing his versatility, getting on that ball, running by the center back, creating an opportunity on his own. October to Sioka. And over to James. Now it'll be Wells on the ball. Petrovic called for the late tackle there on Codolo. That ball hit low right into Joao Costa, who really wasn't even trying to defend it. Now it's Williams. Coloco springing forward from deep in the midfield. Comes back to Sabisi. Williams. Omondi breaks free. Low shot. Finds the corner of the net. Kelvin Omondi, the Kenyan, connecting with his John Brown University teammate. Ryan, getting the feed from Ryan Williams. Fights through a tackle. And from the top of the box, good composure. Finishes to the bottom left corner. And the Eagles are up 1-0. 22 and a half minutes into the match. So almost exactly midway through the first half. The Eagles make the breakthrough. Have sustained maybe a bit more of the attack. Neither teams really seem to be all that sharp to start with, sustaining a lot of pressure, but there Omondi able to latch onto a pass from Williams, fought through a challenge, found himself at the top of the box, and good composure to put that ball under the hands of Creighton's. Didn't try and do it all with pace, composed himself, went for placement, just beat the outstretched hands of the Dynamo keeper. See if this opens things up, gets the Dynamo little more committed into the attack. See if they can find Elliott a bit more. He's definitely seemed to be the most dangerous player for them, playing that central striker role, but pretty mobile, getting around the field and getting on the ball. Pelaez now to Oliveira. The Brazilian will go back to the Panamanian goalkeeper. Savisi looked like he was offsides when that ball was hit, but I guess because it didn't make it all the way through and it was played by the defender, he was able to come back and take it off the deflection. Quick little feat from Williams, but can't connect with Bejarano coming around him. Pelaez, the Eagles goalkeepers from Panama, and his two center backs, Oliveira is Brazilian and Siage is Spanish, so most of the communication in that back line happens in Spanish. Bejarano's Colombian out at right back, so those guys opting to just communicate in Spanish. As now Omondi breaks free again. Cuts back and puts it just over the bar. But a good little move from Omondi, the Kenyan coming in inside. Got his touch by Sioka. Quick feet to elude Sioka and then couldn't quite curl his foot around it to beat Creighton's a second time. 25 minutes in, just a couple minutes after he scored the goal, Kelvin Omondi coming off the left flank, looking dangerous again. Coloco comes up a little gimpy off of trying to win that header. Bejarano will choose to keep it, come out the other side, and Oliveira will find Page trying to push forward from his left back position. Mondi frustrated with himself for the loose touch that goes out of bounds, and now it's the Dynamo coming back the other way to the near side. Fullwood and Wells connecting. Ball sprung in behind. Pelaez able to track it down. Could have been dangerous if Danny Elliott had been on the same page as that through ball. He was coming short as the ball got played over the top. Had he been spinning out and getting in behind, would have liked his chances to maybe get in behind there. Petrovic with a really clever ball through to Williams, who now runs at the back line, finds Costa, stays on sides with his left foot under the keeper at the near post, while Costa keeps up his good form. And the Eagles lead 2-0. 2 goals in the matter of about 4 minutes from Omondi, and now the Brazilian João Costa picks up his 4th PDL goal of the season. Playing up top tonight, not the biggest player, but when he can get into space like that, he's so good around the goal, so good with his first touch, pushes the ball out into pace, and then just reads what the keeper gives him. Creighton's was giving him a little too much of the near post, and Costa just places it right under his hand. Another good finish from the Eagles forwards. Composing themselves and placing the ball just under the hand of the keeper. So even though you wouldn't say that Charlotte has dominated the match by any means, they've been able to take advantage of the opportunities as they've come. Haven't created a lot of sustained attack, haven't exactly just lived down in Carolina's end, but when the opportunities have popped up, Omondi and Costa have been cool and composed and put them away, and that gives the Eagles the 2-0 lead. Williams will press. Dynamo will play out through Tella. Bejarano steps up and picks it off. He'll look for Costa.
Yes.
Can he latch on again? Good save from Creighton's, who comes out and collects. Bejarano, he knows what to do when he gets on the ball. His first thought is to find Costa out in front, give the Brazilian a chance. Able to collect that ball and put on frame. Good save from Creighton's. Team needed that. As now Elliott gets around the corner and tried to give Kayemba something to get on the end of. In the end, Bejarano puts it out for a corner. It'll be Elliott over to take what looks to be a left-footed in-swinger. The Dynamo sends Sioka forward. Ball comes short. Fullwood looking for Meacham, but couldn't find him. Back to Fullwood. Out to Elliott. There's a left-footed delivery. Sioka just beaten to it by Pelaez. Well, Costa pulling out. Wanted the early punt. Pelaez not feeling like he could quite get it there. Decides to keep it short. As now it'll be Siage into Williams. And the Eagles will slow things down a little bit. Siage leaves it a little short. Coloco able to get it forward at least. Curran Page does well to get in between Danny Elliott and the ball and knock it back to his goalkeeper. Oliveira with space to move into. Plays into Ryan Williams. Can't make it stick. Now it comes out the other way. Tella. October. Now it'll be Petrovic out the other side for Paige Kearns. Now you see Charlotte starting to push the Dynamo back a little bit. It's going to be Meacham in transition. Danny Elliott stays on side. Siage and Oliveira tracking back. The left-footed effort from Elliott. You can see his disappointment. Puts his hands on his head. That was a chance. Wasn't great angle. Siage and Oliveira were able to track back, but Danny Elliott pulled off of his marker there. Oliveira able to get himself in position. Couldn't get enough curl to get that ball around Pelaez. Ended up putting it right into his stomach. Early ball from Kearns. Can't quite clear Sioka, and back come Tella. Meacham has it poked away by Oliveira. Loose pass from Bejarano. It's going to find Meacham. Catches the Eagles' defense open. Danny Elliott gets it on his left foot. And Oliveira comes back across, and Eagles defenders kind of looking around at each other. That was a loose square ball. Little miscommunication there that gave Danny Elliott another chance. Oliveira fortunate to be able to get that block in and keep Pelaez from having too much to do. Petrovic to Williams. In some tight space, though, asking a lot of the Hawaiian. Got a man down over here in Tella. Sabisi will let it roll out. Dynamo coaching staff letting the ref know that they felt like Tella was fouled there, and that's why he's down. Eagles trainer Kristen Horton will give Tella a look. Check in on the holding midfielder. So while the Eagles have been dangerous with the chances they've been given and have started to assert themselves into the game, they've also had a few loose moments here in the last 5 minutes that have given the Dynamo a couple of chances, allowed Danny Elliott to break free. He just hasn't been able to really test Pelaez. And so at about 34.5 minutes in, we stand at Charlotte 2, Dynamo 0. As it's Rashid Tella, number 12, the midfielder for the Dynamo that's being tended to. He's on his feet, which is a good sign. Don't know how much weight he's able to put on that left leg. He's gonna come off for a second because the training staff came on. He's gonna have to exit play, and before he can come back on, we'll see whether he's able to re-enter or not. Whether Dynamo will be forced to use an early sub. In their last match against Tobacco Road last weekend, the Dynamo played the same 11 players all 90 minutes. So just rather unusual to go the whole match without making a sub. Tella seems to be moving freely enough to get back in the match. In the meantime, though, Costa looking to combine with Williams. Couldn't quite pull it off. As now good little combination from Carolina. Frees up Kayembe down the flank, but Bejarano gets a poke in. Ebe Cadolo, though, with a nice little flick to find Danny Elliott to start that. Sabisi looking for the big switch, just pings it over the head of Amondi. And now Tella works his way back on the field. Good to see that he's able to continue. And now he'll get back on the ball. Tella to Wells. Now it's Meacham. Kayembe down the left flank. Sabisi defending him. Comes inside for October, the left back. Finds his way into the Eagles box. Gets to the end line. And it comes off of Siage, off of October, and eventually out for a goal kick. But some signs of life there from the Dynamo, able to get Kayembe and October down the flank. But in the end, unfortunate deflection for October. Got himself into a good spot, but the ball comes back off of him and out for a goal kick. Pelaez sends the goal kick upfield. Siaj with a bit of space decides to swing it over to Oliveira. Picks his head up, but then decides to come short to Coloco, and the Eagles will play through Petrovic. Again, Petrovic. Omondi putting pressure, forces Steve James to play that out of bounds. Charlotte will take its time to work their way up to the corner as the Shadows work their way across most of the field, cool things off a little bit. Eventually, it'll be Omondi to get play going again. Currens, nearly found Petrovic. Creighton spills it, but the Dynamo first to it. And it'll be Kayembe to Kadolo. Tried to show a little too much skill, and eventually Petrovic comes away with it. Sabisi unable to combine with Williams. Ball hits the line and actually stays in play. Goalkeeper Pelaez telling Oliveira he's got time, he can relax, and eventually the Brazilian looks long, but Ryan Williams uninterested in chasing that one down. Off the back end of the field here at Charlotte Christian School, you can see the sport court street soccer set up behind the Dynamo goal. Eagles hosted the Soccer Fest 3v3 tournament earlier today. Had a good crowd of both some young kids and adult players out there, as Elliott can't quite fight off Siaj to get on the end of that. The Eagles partnering with Street Soccer 945. Pete Fink and those guys run a great organization in uptown Charlotte for a group of homeless guys who get together and play street soccer and help them build community and figure out stuff in life using soccer to get them on the right track. So Eagles excited to have a chance to work with those guys and offer both some kids and adult teams a chance to come out to Charlotte Christian School and play some 3v3 today. I left the court up, so some of the kids in attendance are down there choosing to play their own game rather than watch the PDL action right now. As we enter the last few minutes of the first half, Eagles up 2-0. Had the one injury to Tella, so we'll see what the stoppage time looks like. We have 3 minutes left of normal time in the first half. October loses the battle to Williams, who slips Costa in. Costa, in the goal scoring form that he's been in, you can't blame him for looking at the goal, but had Omondi coming in the back post, may have done well to try and slide that one across the front of the goal, or at least take a shot low to the far post to bring Omondi into the play. But good work from Williams to win that ball, and then Costa so dangerous looking to slip in behind. A perfectly weighted pass created another chance for Charlotte. Tella Fancioca now out to October. James goes back to the keeper. Charlotte will start to eat up a little ground here defensively. Kayembe and Tella unable to connect, and it'll be Petrovic to find Williams. Can they Slip it through. Petrovic, easy to Almondi. Oh, but he's found Petrovic offsides. Would have been a really classy goal from Charlotte, but Petrovic just a fraction offsides. Good quick combination play though. The ball turned over on the right flank and about 5 different players connecting one touch all the way through. Oliveira wins the free ball out of the air. Good to see Tella moving around freely. Well read by Oliveira, who finds Costa. Wants to run. Dynamo have some numbers though. And Charlotte will set things up. Sabisi to Bejarano. Looks for Costa at the near post, just a bit beyond him, and Creighton collects pretty comfortably. And the refs are going to give 2 minutes of stoppage time here at the end of the first half. That ball's going to drop over Page. Elliott's going to run underneath it. Page works back to poke it away for a throw-in. Meacham fights through one tackle. Eventually outnumbered though. 3-4 Eagles around him. Not a lot of choices. So while you wouldn't say it's been the best half that Charlotte's played, as that ball stays on set. No, it is going to be offsides. Therefore, waited till Williams collected it. Pelaez and Siaj talk about how they want to organize things a little better, so Danny Elliott can't get in behind him. But Dynamo forward went just a bit early. Yeah, it hasn't been the best half the Eagles have played, I would say, this season. But when they've gotten chances, they've been pretty good with them. Almondi in the 23rd minute, and then Costa in the 27th, giving the Eagles a 2-0 advantage, and have slowly grown into a little bit more control of the game. Petrovic and Koloko doing well, controlling things in the midfield. So Mondi finds Williams. Is there a chance to break again? Koloko, early ball was on for Mondi, but decides to go wide to Sabisi. Good tackle from October, but the ball comes back out to Williams. And the ref will end the first half with the Charlotte Eagles leading the Carolina Dynamo 2-0. We'll take a quick break and then be back for second half action here of the second match of the season for both teams in USL PDL. Again, the scored Eagles 2, Dynamo 0. Welcome back, everybody. We're just moments away from the start of the second half of PDL action here between the Charlotte Eagles and the Carolina Dynamo. The Eagles leading 2-0 following goals from Kelvin Amondi and Joao Costa midway through the first half. Still waiting for the Eagles to get back on the field. Here they come off the near touchline. Referees waiting to get us started. The Eagles will be at home again for their third consecutive weekend of PDL action next Saturday against the Myrtle Beach Mutiny, previously of the NPSL, but now in the USL PDL. So first league matchup between those two sides. The two played in the US Open Cup previously, with the Eagles winning that one 2-1 in extra time. So a little bit of history there between the two teams. But yeah, still 45 minutes to decide things in this week's match. See if the Dynamo make any changes, try and adjust their shape or strategy a little bit to get back those 2 goals that the Eagles scored in the first half. You'd have to think, if you're Dave Dixon, you don't mess with what's been working for you so far. Neither team making any halftime substitutions. So we got the same players getting us started, and it'll be Ryan Williams and Joao Costa standing over the ball. So the ref checks with everybody on the sidelines, make sure we're ready to go. And we're underway here in the second half, whenever Ryan Williams decides he's ready. And now we play. So 2-0 Eagles. Charlotte looking to improve to 2-0 in the PDL regular season. The Dynamo coming off of a loss from last weekend in their second consecutive road match to start the season, trying to avoid an 0-2 start. You wouldn't write the Dynamo off, even with a bit of a slow start. It looks like here, the team that made the playoffs last year, so still be accounted for, you feel like. That's Tella coming across Ryan Williams, who wins the free kick. Page sets it down and goes short back to Siaj. Coloco able to pick his head up. Nodded away, though, by Sioka, the center back. And now October clears the lines. It's Fullwood who received the ball out on the right, and Amondi defending him. Puts it out of play. Elliott holds off Oliveira. Gets to the end line. Ball cut back. Oliveira able to get to it just before Shane Meacham. That ball driven at the near post by Kayembe. But Peleas is able to get there before the Dynamo striker. So at least initially, to start the half, neither team making dramatic changes to the way they've set themselves up, how they want to play. Petrovic getting a little bit further up the field for Charlotte. As he now steps in and battles Codolo, comes away with it. Little miscommunication there with the Dynamo, trying to play a ball down the line from Fullwood, and nobody running onto it. Siaj looks over the top. Bejarano unable to get there first. Godolo out of pressure. Keeps it. Kayembe draws a foul on Petrovic. Petrovic gets a brief talking to from the ref. No cards, though, up to this point. Kayembe looking to get a run on Siaj. Once a call would have, I believe, been a penalty kick, but the referee doesn't see much there and gives the goal kick. Siaj covering for Bejarano. Cuts Kayembe off and bodies him up. Ball goes out of bounds. Good defending by the Spanish center back. Sabisi wins the initial flick and ends up getting himself a throw-in. Got a second ball on the pitch. Ref will stop play to get rid of that. That'll give Bejarano time to come forward to take the throw. Clever little ball from Costa against the grain. Frees up Bejarano, comes short. Petrovic tries to find Sabisi on the back heel, but the Dynamo cut that out. Siaj beats Elliott to the ball, and now it comes out to the near side. Page. Omondi finds his way free. Coloco back to Omondi. Williams. Now Sabisi getting a run in October. Couple step overs, but Sioka blocks the clearance for the cross. Bejarano overhits anybody in orange. Page tried to lift the ball over the defender's foot, but it apparently went out of play. Or they're going to say that it went off his hand, I think. And so it's a free kick for the Dynamo. Work the ball around to the far side. Dynamo coaches encouraging their players to value possession just a little more, not be so hasty to play in behind. Keep the ball a little bit. See if they can carve out chances that'll give them a few more numbers forward. Burns works his way down the line. Rolls it up the line, but Costa not going to get there before James, who goes back to his goalkeeper. Holds the ball up. Williams able to close him down, but Creighton still gets it away. Now it's Coloco to Williams. Cut out by Petrovic to Williams. Now it comes all the way back to Oliveira and again to Pelaez. The Dynamo will step out a bit. And Sabisi had Costa on the far post, but the service just a bit heavy. Costa, smallest guy on the field, gets to the cross first, but not a lot he's going to be able to do with a header from that kind of distance. Dynamo go long. That's a really good ball. It's going to find Danny Elliott in a battle with Danny Siage. Elliott able to hold it up, bring Tella into the play. Cadolo. Now the Dynamo see if they can pin Charlotte back. Create a little something, but it's going to be a chance for Charlotte to break now as Omondi wins the ball off of Fullwood. Petrovic on the right, falls back to Williams, holds it up. Teed up Sabisi. It was Sabisi at the top of the box whose right-footed shot, bit wild, to say the least, skies it, and the Eagles in transition got themselves into a really good spot, but in the end, the effort from Sabisi was just wildly over the bar. He'll be thinking about that one as he tries to go to sleep tonight. Good chance to get himself in the scorebook. As the Dynamo make the first change of the match, it's going to be Kayembe giving way to Sam Orasatoki.
Oh, yeah.
And immediately after the substitution, it's Ryan Williams who finds the back of the net. So the captain gets on the scorebook, gets on the score sheet in the 55th minute. Just as the Dynamo were making the sub, Eagles catch them maybe in a little bit of confusion, figuring out where people are going to play, and it's the Eagles captain, attacking midfielder, who makes the Dynamo pay. Ryan Williams also has been in the scoring column already this year, had a nice goal against the Independents in Open Cup play on Wednesday. One of 2 goals for the Eagles in a tough 3-2 loss to the Charlotte Independents in the second round of the U.S. Open Cup. But back on the score sheet again. Also had a goal against Wilmington in the first PDL match of the season. So now it's 3-0 Charlotte, as we are in the 56th minute. Omondi on the run. Petrovic back to Omondi. Slips it through. Costa not quite able to latch onto the end of it.
Thanks once again to Simon Cox for Charlotte for providing the companions for the team walkout today.
But Charlotte's been probably at their best, actually, on the counterattack tonight. Can't say that they've really pressed the Dynamo and locked them into their own half all that much for sustained amounts of times. But when they've broken, when they've been able to turn the ball over, they've been really good in transition, freeing up Williams and Costa and Omondi, all of whom are on the score sheet. 3 goals, 3 different goal scorers for the Eagles, who have subs working here on the near sideline to get loose. See at what point Coach Dave Dixon decides to go to his bench, where he still has players, attacking players like Mattia Mwape and Andrew Revenalis. Some very good attacking options should he choose to use them.
Ortho Carolina Orthopedic Urgent Care is your solution for care when time is of the essence. Our expert staff of doctors and PAs is ready to treat your entire family. Learn more about our hours and locations at www.orthocarolina.com/urgent-care.
Tello on the ball. Frustrated with himself, caught too much of the turf on that one and came up short. Poked out of bounds by Fullwood. Charlotte will remain in possession. Clever little move by Costa, gets him around James. The Brazilian working at the near post. Tries the toe ball. Tried to sneak it by Creighton's. A lot of times when you finish with your toe, you can disguise that you're shooting and just hit it in stride. But it looked like Sabisi had snuck to the middle and was hoping that Costa would just roll it across the face of the goal for him. This is Costa's delivery. Oliveira from one Brazilian to the other. Oliveira with his hands over his head. Feeling like he should have done better. Was first to that one in the center of the goal, but drove it back across the face of the goal and wide of the near post. A good look off of a good delivery from the free kick. Williams nearly cutting out the short goal kick, but out it comes to Fullwood. Can't deliver a ball that Elliott's able to do much with. And then Codolo and Meacham unable to connect. Around it goes to Siage. Bejarano finds Sabisi. And now Charlotte will come back the other way through Petrovic. Open it up again to this side. Jovan Petrovic quietly having a really good match for Charlotte. Excellent in possession, makes good choices, can get forward and play and combine with skill. Then he'll drop in and defend really well next to David Coloco. Impressed with the Charlotte Eagles midfielder there, number 5, Jovan Petrovic. There's Petrovic with a great little turn to get himself out of pressure. Ball eventually cut out, but good bit of skill to get away from that. Williams took that ball out of the air and set up Costa, who went for the audacious 35-yard volley that nearly went out for a throw-in. It'll end up being a goal kick for the Dynamo. Taken short again by Creighton's, comes out to James. Charlotte presses it and wins themselves back a throw-in. Williams left alone. Gets underneath that shot. Puts that out for a goal kick. For all of the composure that Charlotte showed in their first half finishing, Almondi and Costa calmly placing the ball under the hands of Creighton's. Their finishing so far in the second half has been a bit wild. Eagles assistant coach Luke Helmuth working his way down the sideline, giving some instructions to substitutes as Meacham uses his hands after he had slipped over to maintain possession of the ball. So it'll be a free kick to the Eagles. Coloco will give Sabisi a chance to run. He's able to get there before October. Throws him a couple step overs, trying to create just enough space to get across. Does get it by October, but cut up by Sioka. Creighton's choose to roll it up the middle to his midfielder, Tella. He rolls it through to the substitute. Boris Itoki, who is ruled to be offsides. .27 minutes remaining in normal time here of this PDL match between the Eagles and the Dynamo. Charlotte leading 3-0. Goals from 3 different goal scorers, 2 in the first half, and then Ryan Williams here early in the second half. Oliveira, the left-footed center back, goes with a big diagonal, but unable to connect. Codolo coming deeper into midfield to get that ball. Ref says that Bejarano was using his hands a little too much, gives the Dynamo the free kick. Here's Danny Elliott down in the corner working against Siaj. He too using his hands too much. Siaj making sure the ref saw it. Wins the Eagles a free kick.
And be sure to like us on Facebook, facebook.com/CharlotteEaglesSC. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram @CharlotteEagles.
Sabisi wins the initial header. Costa trying to track down the next one. And will eventually bring it down and now combine with Coloco, who tries to swing it out to Page and just ahead of him, out for a throw-in. Cut out by Amondi. Quick ball to Williams. And good tracking back by Tele. Looked like Sabisi was going to be in one-on-one with Creighton's and the Dynamo midfielder doing the work to get back and cut that pass out. But when Charlotte is pressed and turned Dynamo over, they've been dangerous on the counterattack. They're just a quick interception by Amondi, finds Williams, who's able to look forward and nearly connected with the right winger who would have been just looking right at Creighton's. That corner from Costa gets by Bejarano out the far side and then cleared up the line. Elliott to Codolo, to Meacham. Flips it over the top, and Charlotte will reclaim possession. Oliveira finds Omondi, who comes inside. Petrovic on the ball, picks his head up. Chooses to keep it simple, come wide. Page trying to get a run on Meacham. I'm going to say that Page held Meacham off. Wells into Elliott. Oliveira times it well to knock the forward off the ball just as it arrives. Elliott gets to this one first. Oliveira able to get a toe in on it, but concedes a corner. Good battle most of the night between those two. Elliott, he's had to go up against Siaj and Oliveira, doing most of that work up there by himself. Some good battles along that back line. Elliott delivering the left-footed ball, and then that ball goes off the crossbar, or yeah, the ref's going to say off the crossbar and not the hand of Pelaez, but that was James stepping up from the center back and hammering that ball. Not sure if Pelaez had it covered or not, but going to say it went off the crossbar and out for a goal kick, as now Charlotte makes their first change of the match. Joao Costa, who scored the second goal of the game, is going to be withdrawn, and going in up top, coming back from a hamstring injury that he picked up in the first match of the season, is Andrew Revenales. So interjection of real pace is now Revenales tries to combine with Sibisi, but unable to quite connect in transition. Omondi with the foul on Meacham. And behind the play, looks like the Dynamo have a center back down. And that's going to be number 16, Luke Sioka. Dynamo aren't going to waste any time checking on him. They're going to go ahead and put in number 24, Brian White, for Sioka. Sioka limping a little bit on that left foot. Couldn't see what happened, where that injury was picked up. But Brian White's going to step into the midfield, into the spot previously occupied by Rashid Tella. Is now White's on the ball, and he goes back to Tella, who's playing in the center back position that Sioka had been occupying. Ball goes all the way back to Pelaez, into Siage. Petrovic tries to come out to the near side, and Meacham able to get a head on it, put it out for a throw-in. A rare loose touch from Petrovic there, frees up Elliott, whose lob. His lob over Pelaez goes wide of the goal. Pelaez unhappy with Petrovic for being a bit careless there in the middle of the field. Elliott getting to that ball before the goalkeeper, had the goal to lob it into, with the center back Oliveira recovering, but the shot ends up wide of the near post. Williams and Meacham battle on the near sideline. Meacham wins another free kick.
Free kick for the Dynamo.
Looks like the trainers are working on the right ankle of Luke Sioka, who came off for the Dynamo just a few moments ago. Cadolo delivers. Looked like there may have been a clash of heads in there. A couple guys coming up a little groggy. Bejarano and Elliott is now. It's Revenales running at the back line, looking for Williams to his left. Oh, he knew what he wanted, Williams, but just lost his balance and put that one over the top. Petrovic disappointed. Thought he was going to have a tap-in goal on the backside. Now the ref works his way back down to the other end of the field, where the Dynamo have a second center back, it looks like, down. Steve James up to his feet. Appears that he's going to be able to carry on. And after the cross that got away from Ryan Williams, it's going to be a throw in for the Dynamo, deep in their own half of the field. Gets over the head of Petrovic, but is cleaned up by Bejarano. Sabisi nods it down. Williams comes inside. Andrew Revenales, the substitute, gets back on the ball. Siaj into Petrovic, back to Siaj. Sabisi's little flick cut out by October. But now it's Bejarano who finds Williams, a little bit of a 2v1 on the flank, but they come back inside to Bejarano. The right back venturing inside. And he'll stay in the mix, hoping Sabisi can deliver a service, which he does. Couldn't quite find Amondi on the backside. And now Meacham tries to spring Codolo. Cut out by Page. Pace quickens a little bit here. Page combining with Amondi. Oliveira's pass cut out by James, looking for Williams getting in behind the back line. Wells rolls a good ball up the line. Fullwood forced, though, to have to go back to Meacham. Amondi spins out of it, finds Petrovic, and now it's Williams looking to start another counterattack for the Eagles. Poked away by Tella. Now the game opens up. Ball comes out wide to Elliott. He's onsides. Carries on, puts it on his left foot, and hits a bomb to the back post over the head of goalkeeper Humberto Pelaez. Danny Elliott, who's been the dangerous guy for the Dynamo all evening, found that ball out on the left flank and was given in too much space. Didn't seem like he had a great angle from that distance, but just went ahead and smacked it with his left foot and gets the Dynamo on the board. So in the 76th minute here, 14 minutes to go, and Dynamo on the board. Maybe pick up a little energy, a little life, because that now makes the score 3-1. Sabisi to Revenales with his pace running at the back line, and yet another Eagle shot here in the second half that skies over the goal. Revenales, like Williams and Sabisi before him, and Costa as well, be feeling like they should have done much better with the chances they've created here in the second half. Creighton's puts that goal kick out of bounds. Kept in play by Meacham. Cut out by Codolo. Threaded down the line. They'll give Danny Elliott another chance. He's going to come back in on his left. Siaj is waiting for him, though, and Kearns eventually cleans it up. Revenales trying to come out to the far side. Charlotte slows it down a little. Siaj gives that ball away. Now it's Revenalis again. Looks for a little flick over the top, but that's not able to connect. Charlotte getting into some decent positions, but not much of an end product here in the second half. As Codolo is able to turn. Now it finds its way to Elliott on his left foot again. Oliveira, an important interception because that ball was really well hit by Danny Elliott. But signs of life now from the Dynamo. Danny Elliott again, the danger man. And at the next stoppage, it looks like Charlotte will be bringing on Rashawn Palmer. Revenalis did stay on sides. Comes back out to Amondi. Cuts a couple times. Ends up coming to Coloco, who slams it into the referee. Don't see that very often. Some of the Eagles fans found some amusement out of that one. But it will be number 6, Rashawn Palmer, preparing to come on for Charlotte. First it's Amondi. Back to Coloco. May owe the ref an apology after the game. He'll try and play it down the line. Sabisi not quite able to get there first. So the referee stops play. Here comes Palmer. He's going to go out to the right back position, and it's going to be Gio Beirano who comes off. So a straight swap at right back for the Eagles. The Colombian makes way. Pretty good effort from him tonight, getting down the right flank, helping support the attack, creating some service. Palmer will work his way all the way across the field here to take this throw in for Charlotte. So we've entered the last 10 minutes of regular time. The Eagles leading 3-1. Page unable to connect with Amondi. See if that gives the Dynamo a chance to break forward. Petrovic able to do enough to slow Codolo down. Brian White was able to get on it combined, and then Codolo plays too big for Meacham, and that's going to find its way out for a goal kick. Pelaya's in no hurry to take the goal kick here, with the Eagles leading by 2 goals in the last 10 minutes of play. Coloco, who's been good in the air all night, flicks that on but unable to keep it in bounds. Elliott able to turn and face up, but Page does well to put that out of play. Ryan Williams comes in from behind on Steve James, who takes exception to the tackle from the Eagles captain. Referee lets everyone know he'll take care of things. Cooler heads prevail, and it'll be a Dynamo free kick. Ebekudolo delivers it into the box. Oliveira beats James to the initial header. Ball falls for Omondi. Gets it out of his feet. Had Revenales on the run. Revenales, pacey Trinidadian forward, was hoping he would get a chance to open up there, but ball never made it down the line. Coach Dave Dixon siding with Andrew Revenales, encouraging Omondi to just roll that ball up the line. And at this point, even if it doesn't connect, you're relieving pressure. You're able to force the Dynamo back to collect the ball and just drag out the game. The referee decided no foul there, but he gives the throw in to the Dynamo. Not sure what's going on over there. Danny Elliott ended up on the ground in the box, but I don't think the ref was ready for play to start, as that service fails to find Meacham. Pelaez will eventually pick it up. Sabisi fouling Tella, and he will pick up a yellow card. So a few tough challenges going in here the last 10 minutes. And eventually it's Sabisi who picks up the first card of the match, jumping into Tella for that head ball. Big throw from Rashawn Palmer, the new right back for the Eagles. Trying to get it over the top to Revenales. Brian White with a little slip as he went to play that ball down the line, and it finds its way out for a Eagles throw in. Palmer again, showing off the long throw in. That one does fall to the Eagles. Now Revenales looks to combine, looks to get a run on his defender. Williams out to Omondi. Not much in the way of runs in the box. And Kelvin Omondi called offsides. Koloko to Sabisi. Inside to Williams. Revenales, good little poke, finds Petrovic. Excuse me, it was Petrovic to Williams. And that pass just outran Omondi. Back to Creighton's, who goes long. Oliveira easily underneath it to head it back upfield. Charlotte content for Dynamo to just chase balls down in their own half of the field. Force them to try and play forward into numbers. Charlotte looks to maybe get one or two more players on the field here for the final 3 minutes of regular time plus whatever stoppage time the ref decides to give. Tella to James. That'll come in the middle to October. Turns over though, now it's Williams. To Sabisi, he'll roll it all the way back to Siage. Palmer to Sabisi. Trying to turn through multiple players. A little bit of a soft call there. Sabisi earns a free kick though. Revenales trying to maybe do a little too much. Meacham fouls Amondi, and Petrovic puts it back into play. Coloco out to Sabisi. Ryan Williams pressing Tella. The Dynamo clear, but just not able to find Elliott up top. When they have, he's been dangerous, but since that goal, really hasn't been able to get on the ball. Had one other good look, but needed to get him on the ball a little bit more if they were going to get back into this game. Instead, it's Petrovic to Amondi, and Charlotte looking to get some numbers forward.
Special thank you is due to the Assistant YMCA for serving as the official training ground for the Charlotte Eagles. Be sure to visit ymcacharlotte.org to find hours.
Sabisi with the cross. Nobody able to get inside their defender. Now come all the way down the line. At the next stoppage, whatever point that'll be, Eagles will be bringing on number 10, Paul Lafoule. Elliott stays onside, being chased by Siaj, goes with the right foot, having to hit that one with his weaker foot, drags it wide. Meacham, though, with a good little ball, well-timed run from Elliott. Got him in behind the Eagles' defense, but unable to do a whole lot with it. It's Eagles captain, number 8, Ryan Williams, coming out for Paul Lafoule for the final few minutes of stoppage time. Lafoule, unfortunately, was waiting for 2, 3, 4 minutes for the ball to go out of bounds and get a chance to get into the game. But here he goes on the overlap. Ball comes inside instead to Sabisi, who spins the ball out wide. A fool on it. Goes back to Coloco. Amondi does well. Page and Coloco. One too many passes back and forth as now Elliott gets to come forward. Ball sprung all the way out wide. And off the Dynamo, and it'll be an Eagles throw in. We're at least a minute into stoppage time now. Revenales catching the turf and coming up lame there as he checked back for that ball. Hopefully he's okay. The substitute coming on there had already just come back from a hamstring injury. Now seems to have caught the turf and, I don't know, maybe rolled an ankle. As we've got just a matter of minutes left in the match. Surely not too much time left, so we'll see how long the ref decides to carry on after this, at what point he blows the final whistle as Kristen Horton gets another workout in to go check on Andrew Revenales. The substitute forward came in midway through the second half for Joao Costa. So it's the Eagles with the 3-1 lead as we approach the final minute or so of the match. Revenalis on his feet, but pretty ginger, not wanting to put weight on that right foot. So it's going to, I believe, be a sub for a sub. The Eagles put it on Derek Gonzalez, number 20, in place of Andrew Revenalis. So disappointing for Andrew as he has to come off after being subbed on. Dynamo making the sportsmanship play to knock that ball back to the Eagles, who had kicked it out of play for their injured player. Pelaez sends it deep up the field. Gonzalez runs underneath it. Petrovic, who loses out. Now a run forward from October. Finds Codolo. A full backtracking. Brian White delivers. Oliveira heads it out of play. Ref checks his watch. Maybe one more chance here for the Dynamo to create something. Codolo looking to flick something over that Elliott could get his hands on. Couldn't quite get there. And there you have the final whistle. In tonight's PDL match, it's the Charlotte Eagles coming away victorious to improve to 2-0 on the young season with a 3-1 victory. Goals by Kelvin Amondi, Joao Costa, and Ryan Williams give the Eagles the 3 points while the Dynamo drop to 0-2. Next Saturday, the Eagles will be back at home, May 27th, Charlotte Christian School, 7 o'clock kickoff against the Myrtle Beach Mutiny. Hope you will join us then. Thanks for watching.